Hello, I'm Amorph. I make games that you can hopefully play games. And today we're continuing on making our dress up game. Well, off screen, I have made some changes to it. That being that we now have a draft background. Huzzah! And now I can get into drawing more of it. Mhm. So we have the character over here. I will just check in a moment. I see. So we have the character over here. And on the right, we'll have their like side profile so you can see it better. You know, the details in the drawing you're putting on. Mhm. And since the character is already on this side, we'll make a new one folder, the one on the other side. It's the same character, just like the different shot of it, I suppose. What's this? Oh, the old post. I should probably delete the old post since it doesn't really matter. Delightful. Now to the drawing board. Literally. Okay, we used size 5 brush last time, so that's what I plan to still use them this time. And I'll also dye it red so they can not confuse it. Now the background here has a gradient map for it because originally it was yellow, so I'll just take it off to see the back a bit better. The question is in how the head is proportioned. Oh lord, I haven't done this since my life drawing classes. Good lord. Something. Ear here. So ear and nose and eyes are on the same level for some reason. And then another third, and then I don't know why the mouth is usually normally over there. I think I will currently check again against my real life references, which I do have. Because I never quite like the way that real life proportions look. They're also weird when you try to analyze them. I had, where's my delightful life reference folder? It's off screen, so you must be patient with me, dear viewer, for a second. Mm, not quite. Found it. And I have a side profile in here. Lovely. Technically, because it's just a straight angle and not a downwards one, we could make it a downwards one. What would happen if we made it a downwards one? I think the downwards one would be cooler. And that way we can make it slightly turn around as well. So it's not fully a side view. But then again, that doesn't make it that different from what is going on over here. So I know that's to our benefit. I think it might be. I'll quickly delete some of the old drawings underneath so they can actually see what's going on. It's a mixed bag, so I'm trying to figure it out. Right, and then as we go through it, usually over here is where the back muscles are, so I'm just going to draw them out for now, because that helps later. It is a helping tool for later. Okay, if we have this, and about, I'd say over here is where the arm normally starts. And then about over here is how, it just works, I guess, ish. I don't know. It's strange. Anyway, the point is in this elbow going on. I really hope YouTube doesn't give me a copyright strike, because, not on a copyright strike. It age limited something. I forgot that it counts, I guess, as like age restricted content, even if it's just not colored or anything, I guess, because I just don't see it in that kind of way. Especially when you're drawing and you're just trying to outline what the proportions are. I think you forget about that sort of thing. Yeah. So, oh, I want to see clearly. Okay, that could be good, maybe. It seems good to me, but I just don't know why. The shoulder itself is valid, weird enough. There we go, much better. The actual position of it is a bit concerning to me, though, personally, a little bit. But I don't know if it's because I'm overthinking it. That could be possible. Either way, it would have to be polished out later. It might be that I've drawn this part over here, which might be where it's getting a bit of a difficulty. Either way, it will be like masked to this part over here. So we won't have to worry about much more of it afterwards. Until then, I guess I'd have to look into how I'd want. Yeah, it's fine, and then over here would be like the hand, you know? Maybe it's holding something, maybe whatever, but don't currently have a hand. I'll go and put this mask on so they can delete it without actually deleting it. So you'll see that when I erase here, I can put any color on top of it and it'll unerase itself. So that's quite good, clever in such things. Now for the actual proportions of this thing, there are a few. Okay, muscles. I could draw them back as well, but I don't think that's necessary because I think ZD here is one arm that way, one arm this way. I could also just move the arm backwards, but I think it would look more awkward, maybe. Let me perceive it. All right, and let's erase it to see how that goes. Yeah, it's a bit odd to have your arm back that way. Like you can, it's just a weird pose to be choosing. I don't know which one I prefer out of them, to be honest. This one seems at least fairly normal, but this one might be. It draws more to the proportions, and it has a way to see the side of the body as well, because the other one hides most of the body. So maybe I'll keep it with this one. I guess we'll go that way. In which case, one arm would be, forward, and the other arm is backwards, and that's how it does that. But then I have to actually figure out how things work. I don't think I need to, because buddy, I'm going to erase all of this. One moment. Never mind. It's simply that the cat was being observed. It's not being let in per se. I was worrying about that. Yeah, that's not too bad. We'll have different body types later. That day, it's just not completely right now. But we will do it. Still, first we need to finish the side profile before we can build onto it. Okay, oh, there's something. Alright, I'll make a new layer, because this one's a great reference layer, don't get me wrong. But new layer. Let me see. Oh, okay, so ears. The nose is usually on the layer below the ears. So nose is over here, eyes are over here, mouth is over here, and that's how the rule of thirds works. And then giant as forehead. That's the thing that I find annoying. Because the eyebrows are also in here. It's fair, it's true, but annoying. you know? And that's the best way to draw that. I don't think it was. But also, if I erase it now, I feel like I'm going to be wrong, and I need limit reference. So let's not erase it for now. Oh god. I need to choose a type of eyes and nose. Oh no. Anime artists have their life so much easier because they don't need to think about ethnic features ever. Meanwhile, whenever I'm doing a drawing, I have to pick up and pick which nose type I'm using. Because, like, I've been doing a semi-realistic style for ages now. I like it, and it has a lot of variety, and it's very useful, and it's really good for everybody involved, right? It's good for diversity, it's good for representation, it's good for making sure your art has, like, sometimes it's interesting focal points, other times it's just like seams. Maybe on its own, it's having a variety in your art so you don't have the same face syndrome. Not having same face syndrome is not the most useful thing when you're trying to make a generic dress-up game, because you kind of want it to have a same face, since again, it's a generic dress-up game, so you're not alternating nose shapes. Unless you want to go to programming hell. And I don't really want to go to programming hell. I don't. Well, let's try the most generic thing I can think of, probably. What? There we go. There we go. There we go. Oh. Cupid's bow. It's this little part over here near the lips. Lovely. Because of that, I can't do any. So when you're drawing a side profile, you will often draw like, even if it's like 3/4, you'll often draw this thing, which is like the shape of the lips on the outside, except in our case, because the shape of the lips ends over here, ish. I think the top would kind of have a room. There's not really a point in doing that, although there is some extra muscles here for moving the lips. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes when we're going through ironing it out. Okay, when it comes to the shape of the face, God, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm gonna need a new reference layer. Where is that delightful blue? Okay. So, technically speaking, yes, this is correct. But, like, that doesn't make my life easier, because that means this is the shape of the, like, lips as well. So, going downwards, see? Which will be useful when I'm coloring these in later, but not right now. Anyway, the nose is already on an incline, which is where my problems start. Because what do you mean? The suffering is a part of the process. Hey, you can't go wrong with this straightish nose, probably. Is it too close? No, because, okay. I do like this. I might move it. I definitely will move it. We go over here. Some improvement was committed. The reason I'm doing that is because there's this part where, like, the part, I don't know what the anatomical correct name for it is, but it's the part connecting the nose and the mouth. You will see it have a very distinct shape in lighting if you ever observe it. So go look in the mirror, you'll see it probably. But because that we need to actually have room for it. Also, it angles a little bit downwards before the nose angles, well, upwards, I suppose. So, okay. Am I correct in thinking that is a cook? Probably. Alright. Eyebrows are my worst enemy. No. You see how, like... Well, I was gonna say I'm a floating eyeball with no eyebrows, but I think the second little halo kind of works like that, to be honest. Still, for most of my life, I've had no eyebrows, and as a result, my experience with drawing eyebrows is much more recent than my experience with drawing mouth, nose, or eyes. Not that will help with our eyes. Here will be the eyeballs though, and that will always help because when you're drawing it, you're making sure to think of the shape of the eye socket, you know? Even if I'm like exaggerating the size at the moment. Still, I don't know what shape to pick though. Whoa. Woe is upon us. Is it? Is that what I think it is? Oh yeah, it does kind of make it look better. Wait, hold on. Weren't I supposed to draw that in black? I was, wasn't I? Damn it. Oh well. Eyes or so cheek is in here. For cheek, I have to draw that underneath. Cheek is in here. Cheek is in here. I might want to make it rounder, which would make sense. Probably. Maybe. I'll think about it. Alright. Eyeball thing. Because eyes are. Is that correct? I think now I've done the opposite of making them too small. Yeah, definitely not quite it. In which case, the third of our. Okay. Because it goes like this and then goes like this, the shape would actually go more like this. The ear thirds, I guess. You know, because of the proportions of that. Okay. I can draw eyes, probably. I can be trusted. Don't worry about it. Hey, does that actually look normal? Define normal? I don't think I'm mad at it yet. I can always resize them later. There are other things, like the bottom and top, like Vicky. I don't. They're kind of like eyelids, but like it's the part underneath. I guess it's the fold of the eyelids. I mean, it looks cute, so I'll keep it for now. I might change the nose later. Okay, so when doing the side-on thing, usually the eyes will take on this like almost triangle shape when it comes to it, this thing. But we're doing it 3/4, if that. So I don't know if that would actually be accurate for us. I might just delete this stuff temporarily to see what I need to draw. I did forget to add a few eyelashes. Eyelashes are not my strong suit, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean it will stop us. Probably. Well, definitely. I won't let it stop me, but still. Will we temporarily look like a fish? I will not deny nor undeny it, but we will most certainly permanently look like a fish. Okay. I don't like that the cheek kind of goes above the eye, even though I understand it travels like this, but it's not nearly as accurate. Is this better? Yes. Okay, great. Good to know. I don't know why, but the temperature has been very hot recently. Right. Is that we have the cheek drawn out? I mean, I'm not that far off with the nose. I take it as a win personally. If you could make the cheek rounder to fit our, this model. Mm-hmm. I don't see this around this works. Okay. If I were to make a rounder cheek, let's erase that and let's try again. Number 5 brush. I don't know if I can get behind that treatment. I don't think I can. We'll make this more transparent so they can see more where we're lacking. You'll usually have like a stronger brow. It's trying to figure out how that works with the eyes that is my problem. I might delete them once more and just try again. Or I might even resize this one. There we go. Is that better? In any capacity? I say no. But who am I to be trusted? Is it better? I'm not to be trusted, am I? I'm going to Control X and Control V so they have them separate layers reference. I'm unfortunately overheating already. Truly unfortunate. Alright, I have decided to slightly move so that I can maybe not be so overheated. Strong on the maybe. You know what? Worst case scenario? Squinting. That looks fun. That's a fun expression. You cannot fault it, I think, maybe. Who knows? I hate drawing in a semi-realistic style sometimes because so much of it relies on the shading. As opposed to like the line art. Which is not the most, how would I say? I don't like trusting the process. Like at all. So having to do so is quite the experience. I think this one goes a bit close to the nose. Right. At the end of the day, no matter what I do, it will probably end up looking like a stylish choice with the way I'm currently doing it. But still. And then for the actual eyebrows, oh god, I don't want to draw eyebrows. Save me eyebrows. I do not want to draw them. And it's an eyebrow. It certainly is an eyebrow. Probably. I'm starting to truly doubt myself on the account of how eyebrowy the eyebrow is. It's like so. Or this is honestly not having eyebrows is such a simple life. Having them is certainly not. I like those like the cute round ones. Those are adorable. I can always go for those. That'll do. I saw them when I was a kid in K-On! And I think I've liked them ever since. Although they weren't quite that round in K-On! Still. I'll live with it. I'll just straight up with it. That's it. That's the end of the line. Okay, the only downside, right, is that currently our forehead is like too short from the expected forehead by like a mile. So, because it's supposed to be from layer to like layer, and instead it's only to here. Why a forehead like this? Just like you could play tic-tac-toe, I think is the name in English, right? I was about to say checkers, but I think that's a bit excessive. There's also a lot of different types of ears. It's very funny when I hear people saying, how do you draw ears? Because no matter what, there's at least 3 examples and they're all correct. See, this one over here needs to be shorter because of the perspective. Control T, and then I have to right click for a free transform because we need to adjust it. Is it better? Yes, that works. Alright. Lastly, because of our perspective, I'm trying to also make sure that's included now here. So you'll see it. This part is like in front because we can see the full thing. And this part would normally be a bit more behind digital, I guess, if we're looking at it from that perspective. I might just... No, I'm not going to keep that line there. Let me look at my reference. Let me check. Good lord. Somewhere out there is an artist that has studied anatomy because they went to medical school. And they know their ears in and out. There's quite a lot of artists that went to medical school, actually. Just like between online and I also know a couple. They didn't end up finishing going to medical school, the ones that I do know, because of the circumstances of our meeting. But... Damn, that's evil. Okay. I know that they have this part, and I know that they have this part, and that's about where my knowledge of ears ends. You know? Accursed creations. Genuinely. If ear, why? I could flip the canvas, that might actually help us. But also I could not. I don't know. Ears are ears. There's a lot of different ways they're formed, I guess. It's peculiar. And it's not even starting on the ear lobes themselves. Which at least I have less beef with because they're just the outline and I work better with silhouettes. But like... I'm not against this iteration of it, although I probably should be. Cursed lack of knowledge, you know? Just like so. Here's the cursed. Why? I know why ears exist. Apparently they're necessary for humans to hear, but it doesn't make my life easier. What if I, like, delete this part I have colored in? Why does it look more peculiar now? Or less? You know, whatever makes the ear work, I can get behind. Let me erase that and draw in basically this part. Why are ears accursed? I'll take it. Anything was better than figuring it out. I think I'll stick with it. You know, at least I cannot be faulted for not trying. Because I definitely did try. How does... I don't think a straight chin is nearly as good a look on this. But also, it's almost like a model. So, I think I can be forgiven. Hmm. Mm-hmm. At least, certainly... Okay. Perhaps more of an incline. I do like the more of an incline one. Again, can't fault for an attempt. I think it's going successful, actually. Mm-hmm. And now we have the rest of it to worry about. We don't want to... But we must. We simply must. We've already succeeded with this pretty well, which I think is very good news. Should we have it look to the side, or should we have it look this way instead? I mean, I say to the side because it's very creepy looking. Unless... This way they're kind of doing a stare of some kind, which just adds to more of the, hey, they look like a model part. If we manage to get it right, because we don't want the eyes to look like they're looking in different directions. That's probably closer. Ah, yes. I feel judged when I look at this. Not by you, dear viewer, but by the drawing itself. Do you feel it too? Is it judging you as well? I hope not. It kind of does though, doesn't it? It's the high eyebrows or whatever. Hey, I'm happy. Now I just need to actually deposit skull. I never wanted to go to middle school until maybe now just to learn anatomy even better. But then again, I suppose it's not necessarily a necessity. There's quite a few lectures you can access online. And if your like goal is to learn to draw, but is it not erasing nearly as high quality as I thought it would? Or am I just not pressing hard enough? Hold on. Oh yeah, I just wasn't pressing hard enough. Okay, good. Because depending on what the brush settings are, it'll sometimes be the fault of the brush rather than my own. And so I wanted to make sure. Oh no, it's bold. It's bold and it's making fun of people who have hair. On one hand, I don't like how flat this part of the cranium is. On the other, I'm also aware that that part of the cranium is in fact rather flat. Because humans are not just balls, you know? They're not just spheres. Humans are not just round spheres when it comes to their skull. I need to make sure I have a clean pass to the neck. Now, I don't know if not having colorblind in this thing is a blessing or a curse. I am going to count it as a blessing, I think. If I add shading, I don't think shading has ever done anybody anything bad. Ever. God. I can't wait to color it in so they don't have to deal with it. The neck. Or... Huh. I don't like that. It looks like a lizard. I'm rather dejected on the account. Yep. What if I make head rounder and more bigger? Well, that would make sense, yes. You know what? I'll take this, and I will do this, where I have cut it and pasted onto a new layer, which is a layer we can hopefully forget about as we try and emulate a even higher forehead. It was always about the forehead. Although, I'd hope not for too much longer. I think we've been making good progress otherwise. Almost. Eventually, where are you when I need you? His drum is like a really good reference of, what's it called? Like human proportions. I think I'm going to have to move the entire face to the side. No, am I? Reference, my beloved. Let me behold you. I don't just use one reference for everything, by the way. Just a heads up. I do prefer the OG skull in some ways. Except I don't. I'm confused. Human head is so small and also so big at the same time, and I can't decide. I think I might undo. This one's also kind of bad. Unless. And then we move it to the side. I don't know if I feel that much confident, to be honest. Still, we must attempt. Well, college ship liquors. I've seen quite a few people jogging that look like this. Which is not at all an insult to anyone, but merely an observation, which means that I might be on the right track. Be normal. I'm asking for too much. Oh no. Unless. Okay, I know what our problem is. Sort of. Yes. We have a few. Is that an idea we should maybe take into account? Let's behold. No, it isn't. No, it is not. Human is strange. I'm going to manually redraw that in. Mm-hmm. 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 Cranium. I mean, it works. There's this sort of top-down perspective thing going on with it. Ish. if we were to like draw this as a cube, I think this. Well, do not trust me. I don't know how to draw cubes from front on. I always draw them back on. There we go. That would be what the perspective is like. Now back to drawing everything else, because now we have plausible, I guess, action with it. As far as everything else is concerned. Please, the gods of YouTube, do not flag me for having the audacity of having a sketch. I don't think they should, in all honesty. I'm rather careful with this sort of thing. But still. I wonder if YouTube and PayPal have a contract. I'm thinking about it because PayPal has a lot of conditions nowadays that influence the rest of the websites they partnered with, such as at one point it has influenced itch and what was and was not allowed to be posted on itch's games. I think you can still search it up. So I'm wondering if YouTube has a contract as well. Because I know some of the PayPal policies, but I'm not sure they have impacted YouTube. You know? Oh, right, because we were. Okay, and then. I forgot we had this like non-folded arm. And it shows because I did not know how to deal with that. Oh god, elbows. In which case, this is the way to draw that, and hopefully I can erase the rest of that sketch. Please be gone. It is. I don't know if it's just a hypermobile thing, because like that's the one thing that makes drawing from life a little bit difficult. You don't, if your limbs tend to move a little too much, you don't know what the normal, like realistic way of drawing limbs is, because for you that's what realism is. And so, like, if you can bend your elbow inwards on the other way around, so instead of bending it in this sort of way, if you can bend it like so, this being your elbow, this is your shoulder, this is your hand. You can bend it this way. That's not normal. That's hypermobility. It bends too much. But because it makes when you're actually drawing the elbow difficult to understand if your joints just move too much or if it actually looks that way. And things like elbows and knees are already hard to draw because they look peculiar to begin with. I think if I just add more shading over here, implying that it is rounder, that'll do us much better than if it was to actually draw it rounder. Line thickness is an important tool we can use. I'll take it. Technically, I always draw my forearm a lot shorter than it actually is. I don't know what to do about that. This being the part I'm referring to as the forearm. Because like normally it's about double the size. However, it is strange. This part is also not insignificant. Since it's technically longer but thinner normally, I could try, but like the moment I elongate it, it looks somehow even odder. Which is part of the reason I don't. Maybe if I emphasize the shoulder, it'll be okay. Yeah, there we go. It's fine. Because now we know that actually it's this roundness and then the forearm begins earlier. Delightful. It's so good to draw and be able to, draw on top of it without shame to explain things. Oh, I just really appreciate it. Ooh, I think that was a good choice for me, probably. I don't know. I only like draw. I don't go here for. I do go here. It's where I'm drawing. Mm. I wonder what art school is like, because I haven't game art degree, but it's very specific, and so it doesn't really feel like it fits into one thing or the other. And I wonder what's if art school is just like very like if it's creativity focused, because game art degrees tend to be more commercially focused, right? So we had classes on business, and talking about your portfolio presentation and what to do for your portfolio in terms of like where you want to be hired, what's the most industry relevant, right? That's where a lot of our education is coming in. So as opposed to creativity, and I think that's also where a lot of marks are going in as well. Like, for example, it looks more impressive to have realism on your portfolio, even if realism itself is not more impressive, because frankly, depending on what you're doing, it's easier than trying to do a stylized version. But companies don't really care about that, especially if there's some of the old-fashioned ones, right? Mm. So companies care about you fitting their style, which stylized things can do so as well. But that means that even if you're doing stylized things, the things that are the most appreciated are the ones that are the most commercialized. And I wonder if that's an approach that art school generally takes or not. I've heard of some cases, but I don't know if they're individual. Or if, like, if you go to an art degree, kind of expect it to be all this creative freedom and all that. Like, we got creative freedom, but it's more of a. It's kind of like giving candy to a baby when it needs to take a shot, you know? Yeah, sure, we had a lot of creative freedom, but it's to subsidize the fact that we had to do a lot of work otherwise, in my opinion, you know? Like, oh, look, all that work you're doing is something you want to do, jingle, jingle, jingle. Absolutely. You will take 3 months on this one assignment. It'll be 50 to 60% of your grade, but you have creative freedom, jingle, jingle. Yes, even then, there's, criteria and such things. It's not like you're allowed to do just about anything. Each subject is very limited to itself, so I don't know. Hmm. Sometimes the style is specified, sometimes the group project to specify styles which emulates the environment in the workplace. I don't know if it's something our schools do. Maybe. I'm always very confused about where to land there. Now, I do want to hide this thing above so they can see my outline. I guess that's accurate. There's nothing to say it's not accurate. Oh, right, I did want to kind of... Why? I'm kind of glad it's the hand is over it, so they don't have to bother with it. Okay, great. We have our first drawing outline of this shorter segment. I do still need to draw somewhat. I'll clip it later, probably in engine if we're gonna be honest. I do need to view where the proportions are going to make sure I have accurate closing folds. But until then, ooh, okay. And then maybe I'll add another thicker one to the jaw as well. I know the eyebrows are perhaps not what we stereotypically think of when it comes to generic eyebrows, I suppose. However, I like them. I think they look sweet. So now with that, we need to color it in. I'm going to eyedrop. Oh my god, did I forget to color the palms? What was upon me? I don't know what was the correct word though. Dishonor. That's the one. There we go. And then palms ish. Yep. Very much ish. Yeah, I'll take it. Okay. Did I forget to erase the extra finger I drew last time? So the story behind that is I tried to count and I failed. But we can now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Much love there. The proper amount of fingers. Left is on. I will take the base color of this though. I'll have different variations of skin tone later. The time is not the present, just like I'll have different body types later as well. But I need the neutral one to start off with. Okay, and we'll get to even do some shading. That'll be exciting, won't it? Oh god, that can be deleted. And this is the blue. The blue will be useful when I move it. Because it's still in the old position. There we go. Great, great. Wonderful. Can I like... no, I can't. Okay, good to know. Wait, you know what? Last time I did this, and I did color the off screen, I believe. Last time I did this, there was this... Ah, there we go, selection pen. No, let me just... Wonderful. I just needed to be within reach of a shift key, which I currently am. Yay. Because when I'm drawing this, holding shift is important, as I will be adding. Like, I won't just color it in from the first point, I guess. This is a selection pen, so I hold shift and I add more selection to it. That's why I needed to be within reach of a keyboard. There we go, not too bad. Although it's always good to be a little bit over the line and a little bit under it from, the inverse direction. I usually try to go for halfway in. Also, holding Alt allows you to take away pieces. Yes, like so. Even when I'm doing an automatic selection, I'll usually invert it and then I'll have it go in a little bit and cinch itself to where it's halfway point between the outline. So that way there's no harsh white lines at any given point. And it just feels more natural when coloring it in. I like how with selection pen you can adjust the size of the pen as well. So I have just switched it from like 17 to size 50. That can be also very useful. My apologies. I have misclicked the Windows key instead of the Alt key, for they tend to be close on the keyboard at times. For the longest time, I used a really old, beat-up Mac keyboard for my Windows. Because it was very quiet, and I liked the silent keyboard. This one's a lot less quiet. One day I'll get like silent keycaps, and it'll be good. There's certain keyboards that I prefer to use over others because of the programs that I utilize. For example, because I use Blender, you can switch different windows quickly in Blender using the num key, the numpad. You can switch different windows in Blender using the numpad really quickly, like perspectives. So you can go front on, side on, top on, and that improves my workflow so much. So because of that, I tend to opt out for longer keywords. So all of the shorter, prettier ones are out of um, commission for me. I can't use those because of my workflow. But it does make me feel quite happy to know what I need for my work and to, utilize such tools. Even if it limits me, it shows that I understand my things. And at the end of the day, you can always have aesthetic and function as long as you know how to look and or work. So you can make your own. You can make your own keycaps. You can do all sorts of things. The sky's the limit if you have the audacity to try. Mm. Never truly fail until you stop trying. Mm-hmm. Coloring is doing great. Mm-hmm. Okay. And we'll be. So actually bums me out a little bit. I'm I'm not entirely out of. I guess I usually when I'm streaming, I'll drink chamomile tea with honey because it helps the voice a lot. But recently, there's been a bit of a shortage of honey, or at least the honey that I feel I can rightfully take. Because, I eat honey very frequently with it, right? And so, because of that, the amount of honey in the household reduces drastically for other people to use. And that's not good. So, today I have opted out for black tea with milk as a substitute. It doesn't necessarily do nearly as much, and I have considered simply purchasing my own, but it's not sustainable. So, sharing mindfully is instead the path that I have decided to take for now. Still, I do miss my tea. There we go. Okay, and now, yeah, so we can color it in. Oh, okay, sweet. Yay! I feel like if I don't immediately add more color, YouTube will end me. I'd give a t-shirt, but I want to actually do shading. So, alas. Back to proper things. I had. Mm, this is the color, this is the shading, and I have no idea what that was. I genuinely don't. Mm, purple. Purple's cool. The size of my brush is a bit too big, though. Mm-hmm. Much better. Mm, there we go. And I will carefully, probably not quite mask it out per se. A single brush, my favorite. I've been using it a lot recently, and it's one of the default brushes as well. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it is over the pink, so I can actually see where it is. Great, good to know. Mm-hmm. That seems reasonable to add a shine. It's not really a shine, though, is it? I think I made it less opaque last time. There we go, that makes sense. Okay, so about coloring in the face. About it. We have to. There's a bunch, frankly. First and foremost, there's a bit of a coloration for cheeks and everything else. I've seen people call this the mask method of shading them, especially if people who work with the addition method of drawing. I guess accurate. Also, coloring in here is a bit. Placing that's cute. Great. Okay. We can erase a bit of that shading. Hmm. I'm adding shading in between the. Oh god, I don't know what the English name of these things is. Lapatki. It's like, because, like, in Russian, the name for them is shovels, which I find hilarious. You know, that part of bones. I don't know. Wings. I don't think wings is the right word either. Oh well. Okay, there are certain parts that I will edit because I have missed them out when I was doing my outline. There we go. And that's why I prefer to just do an outline selection from the outside and then invert it and do this sort of mathematically, because non-mathematically I tend to miss things. No? One day I'll get back to procedural animation, because I might not be nearly as well versed in animation. I don't have the feel for it. I can list you the 12 principles and whatever, but there's theory and there's practice. However, the two can merge when I have some math to back them up. And that's why I find it so interesting and fun. Okay. Well, now that we have this thing, time for more, I guess. I need a highlight though. Is that a worthy highlight? No. Maybe if I make it more yellow? Warmer? Yeah, that seems nice. Hey, makeup is fine. I'm not going to, I think, at this point, add makeup to the actual game, unless it's requested. But on that account, consenting, I did that. I'll try using a little bit more this blend brush. It's funny because I usually use it for blending. I really like this new trend of coloring in online that I'm seeing with the nose highlights. I think it's cute. If you're ever wondering about why certain art styles become homogeneous online, that's why. People find them cool and interesting and then they'll replicate them and then they'll become a trend. Similar to how, and then a lot of the art community will learn from them. The art community learns from the things that they pick up from the art styles that they like. And as a result, everyone becomes a bit better at anatomy or shading or line work. And I appreciate that. There are trends, they become homogeneous. Unless it is taken from a private artist, it is not a problem. So people don't like people copying their art style, for example, because again, it's a commercial, personal thing. It's the bread and butter of an artist because they're working on their own to sell things, right? But if it's something like picking up the art style of Arcane, it is a series where a number of artists work on it. So being an indie artist wouldn't take away money from people who are making it commercially in the team already because they're not selling private commissions, you know? And I think a lot of this sort of shading comes from Arcane actually, because I've noticed the most of it afterwards. Well, there was some previously, but it was more to do with makeup. Cheeks. They could be so cute if we just highlighted them. My god, it's reminding me a little bit of Sabrina Carpenter. I don't know why. It's just whenever I associate glitter and cheeks, I somehow always think of her. Which I don't think is very fair because it's not uncommon, especially in more showy industries. Plus, she's not the makeup artist for herself as far as I'm aware. So, alright, and of course, the giant glitter on the forehead. Also, a little bit at the bottom, it usually tends to be lighter. That's why I've added a little bit of the shading over here where the mouse is. And I'll probably delete it where the neck is, because that doesn't translate. There we go. Oh my god, it's so shiny. I want to eat it. I'm a hungry fella, aren't I? We can also add highlights to the corners of the lips, because when it comes to lighting hitting from this angle, right? The lips are structured in this sort of way, so it is hitting the bottom part of the lips, hence why you can put a highlight here. You can also put one on the Cupid's bow if you want. In which case, you might as well want to put some shading on there as well. You know? I know adding shading under the nose is a good idea, but I can't check it yet. I think it might be. I just need to pick a much smaller brush. Maybe. Is that it? Is that how we're going? I'm very happy with it. Off, on, off, on. Technically off also works, but on just, I think, does it more justice. I'm trying to color in the ears at the moment. It's a little bit... It's a thing of its own. Let's just say that. If I multiply it and make it lighter. I do think that's better than just straight up making it purple. Although not by too much. I could also try darken, or I could try... I'll polish up the ears first, or at least attempt to. Hey, an ear is an ear. It's peculiar, but hey, I sadly can't teach all teachers new tricks. Not the same with teaching all dogs new tricks, I suppose. And bad. There we go. There might be even a little bit of room for shading more of the neck. Although not too much. Is that better or worse? I mean, I'm definitely team better. I think a lot more shading on the back will do us only good, honestly. Nice. Okay. I do also want to check the lip coloration as well. Oh, there's not really a difference, I think. Let's check. It depends. On one hand, I kind of want to emphasize the lower lip because I think it would look nice as lipstick. On the other hand, I'm not sure. What is this? Lighting. Let's add another one. I will try using... Actually, I'll try this one. It's the same shade we've been using so far for... Oh, and of course, there we go. Is that better? I can't tell. I think it is. But it could be... I genuinely can't tell. I think it's good. I don't think I'll add the highlight that would come with like a lip gloss. I don't think I'll add lip gloss highlights. I do want to... And if I just shade it quietly so that it folds away and doesn't stay purple the whole way, you might do good. I can't decide which is better. I think if I just outline this one a little bit more as well, that'll do us maybe good. That's so pretty. Oh, and a little bit carefully. God, lip liner is confusing, which is exactly what we're trying to like get at over here, I think. I'll just leave it as this. You know, what's the worst that could happen? And shading. This is lighting. This is not a lot. I'll add shading on a separate layer for the body, I think. Multiply, and of course. And a little bit on the elbow. But like, not so dark. And of course, the back arm needs to be shaded, and so does this part. Ish. Terrifying. Is that it? And perhaps harsher against the lighting. Oh, I'm confused. Anything else? No. No. No? I'm confused. No. Yes? And I can't tell. Works? Works. Okay. And a few more. I can figure out. Yes. I think that works. Does it work? Yes. Yes, it does. Lovely. And we can even afford to make this part a little bit lighter. Yes. Yeah, it works. Because then you can see it easier where the line is. If you make it darker, the liner tends to blend with shading. And that's what makes it more difficult to read, especially if a pose has a limb over another limb instead of just having them clearly out. Like, for example, with the arms over here. Oh well, back to it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else I need to take note of? I don't know if I need to make the multiplier layer less obvious. Do I? No. Nah, it doesn't need to be. Hmm. Hmm. I think that's us. Save for I need to color in the eyes. Okay. For it, what we must do is take our base color and then put it a little bit to the side until it's white and up a bit. I'll even use this more opaque version of it. I might put it a little bit more up and a little bit more brown. There we go. I think it looks more natural this way. Mm-hmm. Yep, that works. Nice. And then I will make this a what's it called? I forgot the name. A group. There we go. Mm-hmm. And that is because I want to draw the irises as well. Like so, and like so. Now to coloring them in. I might even do a little bit of. I'm not gonna go full black, but like very dark color of some kind. And then let's add a sparkle to the eyes so that they don't feel as dead. Sort of. I don't know why my sparkle isn't working. We'll try a different brush. Is that more sparkly? I think so. Yay! And I think white is not the best color for this. But we do need to add a little bit of like the bleaky. What's it called? Sparks. Sparkles. I know. Eye sparkles. Mm, no. Mm. And I will put those on top of this. I am not the smartest person in the room. Unless two. Hey, I'll take it. Or will I? Mm, I could also just make them straight up like highlighter white. I don't think highlighter white is the way. I don't even know if the base color is working. Let me perceive. Yeah, can't not work if you're simply going to half tone it. I'm happy. Okay, now there are a few more things to do. Specifically over here where the eyes are, and this is especially accurate now that we have proper eyes. Great. I don't know about you guys, but there's like a bit of a discoloration over here. Hmm. We have been going at it for a good hour and a half, so it might be a good time to break now, and we can finish the eyes afterwards. So we will finish them in a bit. See you all in about 15. Good news! Break is over. Hypothetically. Which means we may now continue on with what we're doing. Now, I never put enough shade onto the cheeks, so I might genuinely try. A keyword might. It's just peculiar. It is. I can't tell if that makes it better or worse. I like the rounder facial features though. I don't like the cornerness, you know. But like, it's got a point, I guess. A bit, not too much. Cause otherwise I'm gonna have to think about how the shading of the ear connects to this. God, I don't want to do that. I don't want to think about it. So we shall not. Oh right, the it's called nose also experiences shading as well. Um, um, I don't want to figure it out. It needs must. Oh, also the brow experiences shading as well. Oh my god, Jesus. They look like they're staring at me now. Before they look like they're staring at me now. Holy moly. I don't know if this is better or for worse. We sculpted though. Like, this way we sculpt the face. I don't know if that's better. I like this yellow, which is what I mark if I'm not sure if I'm going to keep something or not later. And adding eyelashes is also important. We can't use that brush. We could use this one, even if it's not ideal. Or I could do a smart thing and actually use the gouache brush. Oh no, I don't know how to draw eyelashes very well. Oh no. I'm trying. Is this it? Is that how that works? I know that's how that works. I don't think so. No, I don't do eyelashes very often. Um, hmm, hmm. I don't know. I didn't have no idea. Tech, well, I could have an idea, but hmm, I'm just thinking about how it works at the moment. Is that bad looking, or is that an okay looking? Like, I think it looks okay for an eyelash. Without them? Oh no, we're bald. With them, I guess we're fine. Hmm. I might even have to actually genuinely sketch out how this goes. This goes this way, which means this goes this way, hypothetically. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think it's bad. But I don't know if I should be trusted on that, because I don't deal with mascara very often. A lot of people do those, like, glue-on lashes, I guess, because sometimes they're quite fantastical. But it's about where my knowledge ends. I didn't anticipate that being a problem. I think it's pretty, probably. I think it works. Hmm. And then one more for, where's the lighting? No, no, no. Why are you all the way up there? Go down. Never mind. I'm just gonna color this one orange, or even red, because it is important, but it's not part of the face shading, so, you know. Wait, hold on. There we go. There it is. Mhm. I can't tell if I should, like... Oh god, makeup is hard. Drawing it certainly helps learning it, though, I think. I'll take it as is, honestly. And the last little thing is, I don't... There we go. Maybe even another small one. Nah, the small one doesn't work. Oh yeah, adding lighting to the rest of the, like... I guess parts. I don't know what they're called. Body. There we go. That's always appreciated, probably. Okay, that's too much. Let's just leave it as is. Sort of. I need to iron that out. There we go. That's fine, probably. Sometimes you want to have backlighting as well. I don't think this is one of those times. Unless I'm wrong. Am I wrong? I genuinely can't tell. I think it is, because there's such a thing as too much. Yep. Hmm. I can't tell if it's because that's a necessity or because I added shading there and now it looks bad. I'm kinda aiming towards the second one, I think. Maybe if I make it even more translucent. Either that or we don't... Maybe we do color burn instead? Ah, yes. The multiply was in fact showing us off. There we go. Much better. Hmm. I might erase some over here so that we can have a clearer view of the nose. Maybe. It's like having the highlight be orange is really weird when it's not orange anywhere else. Understand? Might have to choose a smaller brush to make sure it's effective though, and it doesn't bite into the nearby shadow. I mean, I think it's neat. Oh my god, they look a little bit like those aliens from Avatar. No, you know what? We're gonna keep it. Good enough for me. Anything else need? That's been done. That's been done. Okay. So the base of this thing is completed. This I will also color yellow, even though I know I will have to delete it later. Okay. And this I will. What color is the base in here? It's not. Okay, lovely. Yep, good to know. New blue. There we go. And then I would name my layers, but there's A, I need to do so consistently, and I kind of don't want to, and B, I have other things to do. Okay, let's start one like thing at a time. First is this, whatever it's called, thing. Sorry, I have simply forgotten. Oh no. Wait. Yes. Almost. Yes, it works. Okay. I would add more texture to it, but I haven't to the original, and so for now I won't. I have considered it, but for now I won't. Mhm. Where does it end exactly? Uh-huh. I'll simply do it as such for now, because it mostly exists as an underneath layer, you know? Hey, great. Now I'll have to select this and then invert it, because that's the quickest way of coding it in. And of course, make it a bit smaller. 1 pixel is more than enough, apparently. What size is this canvas? Oh, it's made for the digital world, right? Because if a canvas is made for like A4 paper or anything else like that, it'll generally be bigger. And when it's made for digital computers, I'll use a 1080 by 1920 format instead. Apologies, there was a connection made to my computer for unrequired charging. Okay, now we can. Am I still on the same layer? Ooh, I don't know if I want to be on the same layer. I don't want to be on the same layer. I'm scared. I'll use this red so they can clearly see where the gaps are, and delete them accordingly once I'm done. And then I can simply lock the layer and change it back to an appropriate color. Technically, I think I should be using a less textured brush for this, and a more smooth one, such as the soy pan is the one that I use when I need a marker. But I don't like switching brushes that much. So, textured it is. There's some inconsistencies when it comes to using textured brushes for this sort of work that non-textured brushes do not have. See how because it's not around circles, there's bits that are more opaque and less opaque even in the center of the brush. See? And so that's what makes erasing with it inconsistent. And that's why we don't erase with a textured brush. At least not as a rule. You can do what you want, and I'm doing what I want. But I thought that would be useful to know. Ah, lovely. With it as such. Delightful. And I will have to adjust a little bit as well because it went over the line instead of under it when it comes to erasing, and that's not good. Oh wait, I forgot that bit in the end. Okay, where's, there we go. I will use a non-textured brush now. Now I'll select this, go inwards one as well, because can't be too careful. Inward one, and then my non-textured brush, because I have noticed there's gaps. Would I have used the paint bucket? Sure. Would I have used the paint bucket? No. Lovely. Now we have it in two colors. So the color that I'll color pick. First and foremost, this wondrous, wonderful white. And then I will right click to duplicate it. Duplicate layer. Wonderful. And I believe the second version of the color we have is black. Yes, it is. It is just black. Good. Oh, goody. There goes our beginning. One moment. What other clothing items shall we use? Ah, yes, that one. That's a good start. I will quickly group these though, because that is important, and to keep it organized. There we go. And I'll make it green, as was our, what's it called? As is our, like, color coding for the clothes. There we go. New green layer. This one's for the red scarf. I do just really want to make it red without any of the outlines, but alas, I cannot. But I really want to. I will have to hide the background now because it's too distracting when it comes to trying to understand the outlines. So no background. Oh, I'm using the wrong. There we go. That's the correct brush. And then just to check and ensure we have the correct, what's it called? I had a reference for this, so I want to make sure that it lays correctly when I draw it. There's also another one. There's a curly one I want to do, but I haven't gotten to it yet. So now, oh, and there's some very beautiful ones. Oh, I found it. All right, sweet. So, it tends to drop around here. If face, then it's funny how when I'm drawing, I'm using almost programmer logic. It's so bizarre. And that's what you get for being a technical artist. The bridge between programmers and artists. I really should get to sketching in red again because now the lines are blurring. And so it might not be as sharp as I wanted to without my knowledge of the factor. There is, okay. Yes, because also this way. And then this sync. No. I know there's another part of it that's like lying over here. And that's lovely. And I also know that the headscarf would fall like so, which is also lovely. But there's other aspects. The issue is, I know how to wear a scarf as well. So, like, you'd think. But no. I'm going to put the red underneath. I cannot handle trying to draw this way. That's the part I was missing. Back we're here. Destroy this. Absolute menace through it. One that way. Even like so, with the little black folds, would be incredibly better than what I was going with earlier. I don't like this side, but I don't know why. I'm sort of scared to find out, to be honest. Okay. There we go. There we go. And then there. And then there. And then there. No, there. Lovely. Probably. Maybe. I can't decide. I'll keep at it though. And then I'll erase this for now. For now, I don't know what to do with this though. Because I know that's wrong, but I don't remember which line is the wrong line. I think both of them could be useful actually, now that I think about it. Don't know. Oh, anyway, there's still the underneath part of it. And that's the part that came with the, like, this, you know, the front thing. Or the scarf. I don't know how to explain it. I know it looks thinner than it is. I also know that it is not going to show up because it will be masked off by the bottom of the heart. So, in all honesty, I should not be caring about the details of that. I like using black for shadows here, though I'm not sure how well it will go. Attempt 2. Not nearly as well as I'd hoped. It's manageable, it's achievable. But like, also I need to simulate this shoulder word as well. Because if you're dragging it on, that would be important, probably. Hmm. Mhm. Now we can return to the underneath color that I have been trying to do over here. Having it colored in helps you really understand how it looks. That and also actually keeps my attention quite a bit, which is useful. Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not using this. I have a headscarf and it does that, and this front part. Technically, it's supposed to go underneath, which means I mean, not quite this. It's usually more dramatic than that. But like, it might. I'll take it for now and see how it works out when I actually put it in color. Behold the many colors of Emily Hugo. I've actually haven't read the book yet. I remember I saw it once in a Ukrainian bookstore as well. But the Ukrainian name for it was quite funny because instead of the seven husbands of Emily Hugo, it said the seven men of Emily Hugo, which made it sound a lot more like a crime novel. And I found that amusing. It wasn't even the like. It sort of is the man exclusive word, but it's mostly not. It's man in the same way that the word man in English is, where it can mean man as in the gender, or it can be man as in like mankind. At which point, okay, I will. There's one more. This line wasn't finished. Does it need to be finished? Huh. No, I have one for hash kind of geometric shapes in this kind of hair like covering, specifically this kind. Because I have a few in here, and this one specifically is the one that I like for its bold geometric shape compared to some of the other ones. In the way of drawing it. I think in the way of wearing it, it's also quite geometric. When it's winter and it's very cold outside, I'll wear a scarf like this as well sometimes. It's really, really good, genuinely. For the cold in the weather. It ends up quite geometric because I'll wear it with a thick woolen sort of scarf. There we go. Thick woolen scarf. But it's worth it to not be cold. I think it's one of the few things an eyeball can wear. Just if you think about it. Mm. Mm-hmm. Now I need to draw the other side and possibly iron this out. Where it goes over the lines or under the lines. What joy is there in an imperfect work? Many to find, I'm sure. But this is a game, and so I want at least one aspect of it to be as polished as possible. This is not the standard way of making a game. You usually don't want polish first, unless it is the main mechanic, in which case you do. And the main mechanic of, well, a dress-up game is the dresses, and so I want to polish it. Mm-hmm. Oh, lovely. I should really be using a different brush. This one, the pen brush. Because then I don't have these imperfections that are over here. Originally I was just doing it for a sketch, but now it will be the finished type of color for this folder. So Now we can't afford this extremes. Mm-hmm. Now, was it? There we go, lovely. I can also afford a lot lighter strokes as well, because I don't need it to be at full opacity all the time, since by default it is at full opacity. Oh, that's not good. How do I fix that? Well, you want eyelashes? They're gone if you put on head covering for some reason. No, I do not know why. I know what I can do. I can hold on. Where is that brush I was using? There we go. There we go. Mm-hmm. Is that us? I mean, it's a bit different, but I don't think it's that big of a difference. 2 eyelashes, 1 big eyelash. Who cares? Who knows? Who perceives? All right, but we do have a few pointers, specifically about the outline. Mostly the pointers I don't want to deal with, so I might just black them out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll live with it, I believe. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Ah, yes. Much better. Probably. Honestly, can't tell. Mm. Nah, I think it breaks apart the geometricness of it, so perhaps not. Oh, and of course, I almost forgot coloring in the back part of this. I'm starting to understand why most of the dress-up games are front on. Is if you have one piece of clothing, you don't want it to be obscured by the body or have it on different layers of one piece. It's a bit more difficult to program, that's why. But it's nothing we can't handle in it. Look at that! I'm proud of myself. There could be more shading done, and I might add it later, but nothing else. Not today. I have been shrimping a lot. I might need to change position. Hello, hello, hello. Am I comfortable? Absolutely not. But am I more comfortable than I was? Yes. Mm, I'm looking at how the curly headscarf is fixed up, and I'm thinking about how to draw the ruffles. Um, it's hard. Wait, that's how that's done? That's so cool. What? No. That's so awesome. What? That's so cool. Oh my god, it's so pretty. Now I don't want to do it because I want to do it justice, not because I want to do it later. I feel like right now I'm only capable of doing a mediocre job, and that's, well, not ideal. Mm-mm. Okay, then back to clothing, I suppose. And many such things. Many such things. First of all, I do need to finish that, what's it called? Long sleeve I was doing for others. Mm-hmm. Long sleeve. Save me, long sleeve, save me. I wish to no longer have to bother with the weird coloring on this part. Okay, first and foremost, we need to do it in a shade that doesn't exist yet, because then it will be easier to perceive it. Oh god, I'm gonna have to figure this out, aren't I? Mm-hmm. 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 No. Yes? Or no? No, okay. So this way. That way? No, this way. No, that'll do, I guess. Mm-hmm. There's the first ruffle. I don't want to do this ruffle. I will though. And the next one is this one. Hmm. Where's the head covering? There we go. I do have to take it off so they can actually draw it. Great. Because it covers the shoulders, and I need to know how the shoulders work. Oh, also, hmm, turtleneck sort of thing. Yep, works. Wonders. Wait, if that goes up there, that means there's another color up here. It does, doesn't it? All right, we can work with this. Is that it? I think so. I know some people who would definitely wear this sort of ruffled concoction. Done in the most loving manner possible. It's still a concoction. How does it doesn't? Oh, right, because that doesn't. Unless it does. Confusion. Uh huh. Hmm. How is that? How? I'm going to delete the inside outline as well. And we will do some cleanup over here. Mm-hmm. 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 No. Yes? My dear, I cannot tell. I do think there's also this seam. I do not remember what it's called, but it's the like seam they use to scrunch it up, and I think that'll be important. So I'll use one over here as well. Technically, it's supposed to be like a two-way thing. That should do well if it can be read as the proper seam and it doesn't look like anything else, hopefully. What's the fun of drawing if you do not also make up cool clothing? Some people struggle with the design aspects of like, man, I want to be an artist and now I have to be a fashion designer too. But I think that's fun in a way. I don't have to deal with the stuff that fashion designers have to deal with, but I can still do some fun drawings. And that's quite cool. Same with like architecture and whatever. I don't have to make it any way logical. I can make it pretty. Yeah, that one is correct actually. Okay. And to delete the there we go. And then that one. And then this one. Mhm. And of course the stitch. I do not know if the stitch will work, especially okay. The side of the stitch would have to be a lot smaller over there. Figuring it out. That's where our problem is. Hmm. Hmm. I also have to do this. Mm-hmm. And there. And there. Probably. And now to delete the old lines and hope for the best. At least this far. Uh-huh. And there would have to be at least two more. There we go. Mm-hmm. Yep. Sure is fine to me. They're so bizarre in some ways. Hmm. I'll take it though. Iron it out. Draw it again. Mm-hmm. Of course. This one is not at all completed yet, so we'll have a chance to do so. I think it's a fun one, probably. Mm. Mm-hmm. draw. Absolutely. Don't even worry about it. Mm-hmm. But then that would mean that's not the most comfortable. I think the seam here would be eaten away, so it goes and folds that way within itself. So it would be one of those. I think what you call it is an invisible seam. So as a result, we don't have these scrunched up thingies because it's invisible seam here instead. Say add texture, you do not have to have them unless you're making a dress with like a big frilly skirt, which this isn't. So they are entirely done for the, I guess, aesthetic. Mm-hmm. Can't wait to get my sister to check this out later. Once I'm more done with the game, because I want her input on what to insert. Close. Is this good? Until my heart says yes, but my mind says no. I think I'll trust the logical of the two. Hmm. Oh, that's why. Oh, okay. That's the case. It's because of the perspective. It's no longer one where you can see the underside of the. I don't know what those are called. I genuinely don't. What are they named? Ruffles. There we go. Remembered. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It worked. As far as I'm concerned. Should I be more concerned? Possibly. Would I? No, I would not. Mhm. No, of course. To these little stitches we've talked about already. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And as we're going to the edge of the arm, they're going to become more and more scarce on their own. There you go. They're going to become smaller. How to enlarge them is a question, though. Is that it? I'll trust it. I don't have a reason not to. Might as well. I will have to change the ruffles. I don't like the way they currently work, which is to say they don't work. Mm-hmm. 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 Much better. And of course, these lines have to be deleted. Because, come on. Let's be honest and real here. That's not how they fold. It does add to the line of action and like direction, which I think is nice. Alright, huzzah. Now I can probably color it black, and technically I also need to do the sleeves. But I don't think the sleeves are that different at that stage. Not really. Like, yes, they're a bit puffy, but they don't get puffy until like the lower part. And even then. Like so. Connect. Great. Oh, carefully delete some lines. I think the elbow is still going to be accurate. It's not going to disappear. Okay. Any second. Wait. Okay. There we go. It was obstructing where I was drawing and I couldn't see. And now this part looks odd. We don't question it. Back to drawing the outside of the sleeves. There are some stripes I need to do later. That time is not now. No, it's not easy work to draw. No, it isn't. Some people might perceive so because of the devaluation, I guess. Devaluation. Some people might perceive it that way because they do not value art, but it is not. It is good for mankind, and yet still it takes skill, regardless of whether or not it is perceived. And then actually, we need to do that. The connecting of the color. And I never thought of whether or not this is a sweater properly. Like, yes, it is a sweater. I know there's any bad about that, actually. It is a sweater. So, it has to fit. Sweater, tell me your secrets. Oh, and of course, over here. Hopefully this will be fine, and we don't have to deal with the implications of the outlines in the form of wrinkles. I'm gonna dye everything black, because I don't want to deal with it. And what color did we use for the base one? This one. Oh no, my legs are dying. Actually, they're losing blood. I'm gonna have to move again. The movement completed. Now to... Oh, right, I'm still on this thing. Underneath, there we go. Technically, I don't need to draw within the lines. Just work out. I'm gonna have to shade so much. Because, like, part of the reason it looked so good was because of the shading. Which means that same shading needs to be applied to the clothes. They not? I didn't. Okay. There we go. There's that thing. Marbles. And carefully with the ribbons. There we go. A rather close color to our skin color as well, which is not so great when it comes to making sure it's colored in properly. But I believe in us. I can always turn up the brightness on my drawing tablet. Because currently I don't have it turned up. I prefer it at 50% so it doesn't burn its own pixels. Because if you have something at max brightness, it will burn pixels, and burn pixels will kind of cease to function the way they're supposed to, which for a drawing tablet where you want the colors to show up accurately is a death sentence. So I try to be very careful with it. A way to burn pixels quickly, if you want it to be diabolical for some unknown to me reason, is to put something on like maximum whiteness and then put it on maximum brightness. You'll see as you turn it off how there's like a part of the screen that is still taking slower to change the color from like lighterness. And yeah, not good stuff. Try not to keep it permanent. Yep, I can be trusted. I might just copy the shading layer onto this. That would make my life a lot easier and quicker. The shading of the skin, I mean. And just do it over the shading of the turtleneck. Yep. Where is it? That is the question. Here. I'm gonna quickly hide it so they can actually copy it. Oh, I have it in red. Lovely. Must simply reach over for my mouse and then duplicate. Great. 10 out of 10. Would do again. Now I can use it to elaborate on what I'm doing. I like the purple hue of it as well, because that makes shading a lot easier for me. Not quite the same, so we can do that. Right. So a little bit over here, a little more over here. Oh, I have to go for a smaller brush. And then smaller yet again. Better, ideal almost. And then another one over here. Sort of. Maybe not. Of course, over here is where we put a little bit more fading as well. You can delete it, which is super useful. So then I can sculpt out that shape that is necessary. They are a bit thicker looking than you might think, but I'm not against that for something that is made out of a thicker material. It's just a bit odd, but and some more. This is also shaded. I think. You can see the folds, which is the important part. How do I feel about that? Ah, there it is. Yes, it's odd, but maybe if I'm more careful. They look like concept art for a horror game now, which I'll take as a plus, I suppose. Like the horror game protagonists, you know? Not the ones. I'll take it. Yes, it might be a bit bizarre, but it is also worth it. Mm. Mhm. And of course, a smaller font for this one. Mhm. 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 And I'll see if adding more shadows over here is a good look for it. I mean, it's not a bad look for it either, but I wouldn't say good necessarily. Let me go in and delete some of it. Just like a little bit, like make it lighter. Maybe not. Where's our... There we go. No. Ah, not quite. It's more, because there are two little bits over here. Well, I am happy with this execution, to be completely frank with you. Maybe. I'm not against it. Let me see how it looks. With you. Yeah, I'm not against it. Okay, we have this part over here, which was clearly not drawn too well, so I shall quickly fix that. Any more holes? Yes. And of course, search over here and just a little bit to where that line touches. And that is us with it, actually. Lovely. Absolutely great. There is also the white version of this, I think. Probably. Which uses the same shade of white. Let me just check that it does exist. No, not you. No. Yes. It does. Lovely. Okay. You. No. Version 2. I will group version 1, version 2 into their own things. There we go. And then I will duplicate it. Duplicate like there we go. And the bottom will be locked so they can paint it in white. I was going to just pick gray, but honestly, it's not that bad with the orangey look. I might still do so though. Where's... there it is. Oh my god, it does look better. Oh. I can keep the colored parts for where it, like... Damn. Look at that. Where's most necessary is the same to say. That. Maybe a bit more. Lovely. Oh my god, so pretty. Damn. Damn. I need to remember to export it like this later, because like that's one hell of a thumbnail anyway. It's so cool. Now the skirts and everything else doesn't show up on this layer, so a bow. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, what else we got? Actually, there was something out of clothing that I didn't do. Ah, there it is. Oh no, I'm gonna have to figure out how it works. And there's those knitted things. Or maybe crocheted. It really depends. With knit, you can only do square patterns. I guess that could be made up of squares. But like, you'd have to have a triangle to connect it, probably. Oh, okay, now I understand how it works. Great, new layer. I love layers. I'm getting rather tired. It's unfortunate. Okay, close this up. I do think it would tie with ribbons. Well, not ribbons, but like bows. There we go. I do genuinely believe it. I do need to put this. It is on top. Okay. I was gonna say I need to put this on top of the other, like, previous piece of clothing, but it already is in terms of layer hierarchy. Not. And then second piece of bow. Like so. So if it is made up of triangles or squares, that would mean they connect here, and then there's a, there we go. That's where the connection is. There we go. Oh, forgot to delete this one. There we go. See, this is why it's important to know as much about different things as possible, because it's so helpful to know about how to like crochet or put together clothes when making drawings of clothes, for example. And I find that neat. Yep, still works with us. There should be a second one though. Oh. And of course, that's a bit better. Maybe even like so. Not sure. Ah, yes. I mean, it does work, but it takes away from the strings I've already made a little bit. Maybe not. Erase a little bit more. Now we have a proper bow. we can start drawing green. I should really use something that's more textured though, because it is a textured garment, you know? I should not be doing it on the same layer. If a garment is textured, using a textured brush will give it texture. Because sometimes I remember wondering really how to add texture to clothes if you're using like a rounder brush, and you can. It is also a lot easier to do so with textured brushes. Any textured brush will do. Yes, you can go for realism if you want to, in which case you might want to do a particular one. But any brush can do your job if you ask it enough. And any textured brush will give you that textured feeling for clothes that are maybe less shiny or otherwise. Mm-hmm. 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 And of course, I need to take away the. There we go. I'm going to have several versions, aren't I? Let's pray the sleeves are all the same type and I don't need to make several versions of those. When I made this pose, I don't think I thought nearly enough about the layering. Ironic, isn't it? But it will not stop us. No, it will not. Not really bad, I'd say. Mm-hmm. I'll simply make two versions of it, of the color and base. Well, bad news, everyone, my tea ran out. Which means what? Soon a break. Not now, but within the near future. There's going to be so many different versions depending on the clothing picked. This may have been a bit of a disaster. But hey, nothing we won't be able to fix. Or, if not fix, work with. It might not be the most efficient layout, but having more versions is better than having less versions when it comes to quality. So I'm not that upset. I know I can handle it programming-wise. Yes, it's more than necessary. That doesn't truly mean much. I am willing to sacrifice that for the quality. It's funny the way that people who don't program games perceive making games. Actually, even if you do program games, your perception of making games itself, unless you're part of game jams, wear a lot of hats, can be rather skewed. I tried reading The Genius Blinker, which is this. Technically, it's a web novel, I believe, or it was at one point, but it's a web comic now. And I couldn't get through like the first two chapters because that's not how random works when it comes to programming at all. And that's not even taking into account the way that the comic books, I guess, is the way you'd call it. The book starts with this character who works at a game company. She's like, yay, game company represent. Game dev, right? And then they're like, oh, well, how do you feel about this character that you have programmed, except the programming is assigning it character features, which is not how any of that works, even remotely. But okay, let's say you're using like a generative AI for conversation or something, which is a whole can of worms and is very. Let's say you're in a futuristic game company where this is possible and easy and fine, and somehow is a thing that exists and you don't need to hard code like different details, which you'd still have to hard code. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. And then the next question that is asked to this character is like, oh, well, I thought you'd like them considering you also modeled them, which is the point where I just couldn't, honestly. If you work at a big company or any company that works on something like an MMO that requires a large team, a character programmer is not going to be the same person that models that characters. And if they are the same person that models characters, then and they work, say, for like a smaller project or something, it's that I kind of understand. What I don't understand is working in a. You can't make an MMO just like they were in an office too. They have like leads and everything. It, these two departments barely touch fingers, let alone letting the same person model the character and programs. Please understand how wild it is. When it comes to making a character, what you need is, let me make a smaller brush. Concept. That's fine. We can photo bash, we can get away with it. Next, you need sculpting, which, by the way, uses a separate, uh, which, by the way, uses a separate software from actually modeling it. Modeling is a low poly thing, so you're making a thing that cannot physically run in the game engine because it has too many polygons in one software. And then you're making and you're exporting it to this one. Then in that one, you're making a lower poly version, and you're baking this thing onto it. So baking, and we're still only on the modeling. Okay, we're not on the texturing or any of the colors or any of the other like parts of that. No, just the modeling. We haven't even exported the thing yet. So then we do textures, which usually requires Substance Painter specifically. So here you have the skill of sculpting, which is already a skill. Here you have the skill of modeling, which is hard poly. So this one uses a stylus, this one uses a mouse. Then here, all separate, is the skill of texturing, which also uses a stylus, but here you're using a stylus for 3D modeling, and here you're using a stylus for drawing on a 3D shape in 2D. Do you understand? And that's if you're not photo bashing your textures, again, which requires a little bit of a different skill set, but that's manageable, right? So here we have our character selection. That's not including any of the rigging, which, my brother in Christ, if you're doing any of this stuff, let's be honest, you're not doing this stuff. Unless you're working on your own, in which case you're not working on an MMO in a AAA company. AAA companies, the way that companies are structured, they will have art team, they will have programming team. They will not have one character team, one character guy, one character guy. That is inefficient. It makes no sense. Then all of the characters will be mediocre because instead of giving it to the one person that is good at the one job of making that character and making many other characters, you give it to somebody that needs to do everything, in which case they'll be mediocre at everything. And that doesn't ensure quality. Also doesn't ensure art style consistency. Having one person across several characters ensures a much more likelihood of art style consistency than having several individuals working on one character each. There'll be slight deviations, and like at least. Usually you'll have in a AAA company at least several people working in the same department. So there's that. But like you have to have training on that account, right? At least some amount. And that's not training you're getting if you're too busy learning how to have a deeply well-programmed NPC. Like really well-programmed. It kills me. It does. So rigging, then there's the extra part of physics. Then there's the export into engine. And then only after that do we get assigning it to programming. Yes. Usually programmers and artists work parallel to each other. So while artists are doing one thing, programmers are doing one thing, and then they'll dump it together. Yes. But it depends a lot on your team and your workflow. So it's not nearly as generalized as the amount of people that work on a character. But yeah, I could not get through it. it was so fun reading lit RPGs as a kid, because that was a genre. However, once you know games, it kind of loses its like most of the things that make it fun because that's not how stats work. It's funny because a lot of the time there's some jokes and things about developers of books, as well as writers, doing a lot of research for their books. But I can confidently say the writers of lit RPGs do not do a lot of research for their books at all. They also expect physics to work the same way as real life, which it doesn't because it has to be hard coded. Because if it worked like real life, your computer would blow up, even if it's an NASA computer. No, okay. NASA computers are built to run physics simulations that are as accurate to the real world as possible. But there's a difference in running a physics simulation that is contained to just run that physics simulation and having like 50 characters in it together with their own dialogue trees, behaviors, texture loads, everything else. That's not usually something that is required, even of something that powerful. So it will blow up. Do not play, not joke led. I appreciate when they say it's a sci-fi at least, because then whenever there's like a game inaccuracy, I can go, "Oh, this is the future of game development," and then I can close my eyes and continue reading. Okay, so we have version A. I'll also have Control C, Control V. This is version B. I'll mark version B is yellow for now, and version A is not yellow. Version I can close. Version B is going to have some things erased out of it, namely the sleeves. I want them to actually be a thing. Yeah, people reading lit RPGs are also most typically not the people who play RPGs, because they'll have an issue with it as well a lot of the time, like loot systems and everything else. At least I don't also play RPGs very often, or at least not as dedicated to it, because a lot of the time lit RPGs will be like based off of MMOs. But it's very fun to read about them when you're not the one playing them, because there's a very different appeal to the people playing, you know, versus the people reading. The people reading might want one thing from community versus the people playing will want another one. The I'm trying to be careful with this. Doesn't look too obvious it's erased. It's not, I know, otherwise. Mhm. 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 Great. Ideally, I would want some shading on it as well. I don't know if I want to do it right this second. Ah, right, break time. I forgot about that. Break time. Mhm. Right. I'll see you in about another 15. We follow labor laws in this stream. The ones that stipulate a worker must get at least one break every 2 hours, at least as far as New Zealand labor laws are concerned. Hmm. Hello, we have returned. And back to shading. Where's the grade? Ah. See, I don't know if to take the base shading for this. I think I will. But like, okay, let me duplicate this. Duplicate, like, actually, this is not the best one to duplicate. Control that. Oh, it's so cool. I'll just keep that one for now. Yeah, where was I? Understandable. I need to copy. Actually, I don't need to hide all these anymore. I simply need to. What is this? Oh, the other version of it. Okay. This is the one. Duplicate yourself. Now. Yes. Wonderful. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When does this work? I need to like change partially the color because let's be honest, it's supposed to be green. There's no green. But partially the texture too. Alright. Time to shade. Mm-hmm. Is that it? I guess it is. Perhaps something like so. I know I need to shade this. I just don't know how. It's grinding on me. Oh, okay. That'll do. Yep. I'll take it. And of course, a little bit smaller. There we go. Now, there is also the shading that comes with the arm. Yep, that'll do. And I feel like I should add some lighting or something. I'm trying to make it so that it looks a little bit more like knitted, I guess, when I'm done with maybe overlay. Overlay doesn't seem like too bad of an option. There we go. Perhaps larger. And don't know. Another one. I think, look, the texture of it is well, textured, but you have to hear me out. There we go. It doesn't quite do. Wait. I know. I had an actual brush for this. How did I forget that? What are you? I mean, if nothing else is available. do need to erase a big part of it over here because that one needs to be replaced with another one. Oh, wrong one. Yep. Nice. Then multiply it. I have an idea. Okay, Control C, Control V. Then we're going to multiply. Then we're going to mask it. Then we're going to grab this brush right here, erase the brush, so that it's only the front parts. So it looks cooler. There we go. Ultimately better. And I want to do it with this one as well, but maybe I'm not that passionate about it. Don't know. Like, I'll take it. I do feel like this might want to be on top of everything, though. Never mind. Unless Control C, Control V, we do put it on top of everything. We make it. I was gonna say we make it lighter, but I don't know if that's a necessity anymore. Yeah, I'll take it. And just for comparison, oh, I wonder what that sound was. I apologize if it was in your ear as well. Oh, it's from way earlier. Okay. I see. Where's the white one? Look at that. That's very cool. I will have to just group them one time. And then, how did I group the previous one? Ah, so it's still consistent. Very good. Yellow is the one that's... Okay, I see. So you're normal, and I duplicate it, and I make the duplicate yellow. Duplicate layer. There we go. Lovely. With it duplicated, we can now... Oh, I was gonna mass erase, but I might as well just do this. Lovely. And just to make sure we're still on the same page, I textured breath roundabout. Look at that! Isn't it so cool? I do want to switch this back to lighter colors though. A darker one, I mean. That's so cool. I love that. I can't wait to have it like as an actual video game. Soon. I also know how I will have to separate them out. It won't be the way I'm currently doing it. I'm going to have to make the front arm a separate thing. So just as the character over here is a separate thing from the character over here, I'm going to have to separate the arm from both of those as well. And that's how I'm going to do it. But for now, that's not a Today Me problem. Today Me problem is making more art. Now I want to add more hair. I have decided that's the next thing I will be doing. What is this? Oh, right, because of that. Anyway, this one has a two of those. Where's the? Oh, that one's cute. I can't wait to do that one. That one looks nice. No, no, no. Well, yes, but yes. Technically, I had this layer underneath everything else in my other one, so I should probably do it underneath everything else as well. Why are you over here? There we go. This one goes underneath that. Oh no, she's bold. Oh no. She's in yellow. I don't know if it's a problem yet. Oh, I see. There's a texture difference here. Actually, I might prefer this one. Okay. Oh god, I'm gonna have to find out how stars work. And then there's one more over here. I see. In which case, that's kind of how that's eaten away at. Ish. Should always try to make it more proportional if I can. Oh, good enough for me. I'll make this yellow so we know it's a reference layer and I can delete it later. Right. So I had a reference for exactly this hairstyle. Let me find it. Or did I? I did, sort of. Not exactly this one, but there's been ones. Wait, some of them are cool. Well, all of them are cool. But like, I was not expecting them to be braided that way. That's so cool. Okay, I'm doing that. I will be doing that in the future. It's one where hair is tied to the back and partially plaited and partially left to like be straightened, but then the part that's partially plaited goes around, and that's also sweet because I knew about the braids. Right? Oh, I found it. Oh, the back is so cool, and then the space buns. Oh, amazing. I'm just quickly saving it so they can make sure to not forget. And great, I can start working now. They are box braids, so that's going to be a bit interesting. But I also need to draw where the hairline is. No. Yes. There we go. Better. Okay. It looks like an uninterrupted line, actually. Huh. Okay. Box braids, you're not at all difficult to draw. Don't worry about it. Honestly, compared to some of the hairstyles, they aren't at all. Still take something. Skill, finesse. Mostly practice. Let's be honest. Takes a while. This is about now that wait, I do have a braid brush. Why am I acting like I don't? I'll even put this in multiply. If only it would taper off as well. But no. It's not uncommon to start from the middle. Actually reflects that way. Okay. Perfect. Ish. I think I would want to. I'm not entirely happy with it, so I'm gonna make it one. Because the base star is rather thin, but it still needs to remain star-shaped. That's better. And then depends on what is done with the braids afterwards, I think. I want them to sort of taper off as opposed to going into more. They can be, but I want the space buns to be a separate, I guess, thing. To explain, we have a slightly different question. Oh, that's so cool. Wait, that's a new one. Hair in the face. I saw a star going into buns that are shaped like spider lilies. There you go. Buns that are shaped like spider lilies. That is so cool. I'll definitely use it later. Me as well. Mm-hmm. 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 And then, wait, you can do that? Oh my god, that's genius. Yes, I'm using that. This one will go into star shapes. And this one will also go into star shapes. Yes. Or will it? Well, it will, but yeah. Okay. In which case, one more over here, and then one more over here. Lovely. Now I can hide the reference layer a bit and can get onto more of the painting process. First and foremost, I'd prefer to just use gray if I could. Oh, this one's nice. Okay. So you can braid them in this kind of way where you take away a star shape as well. I think it'd be better off if I just drew a star and then went from there. There we go. Perfect. It'd be so fun. There we go. I think it could be a clearer star. It is a bit clearer-ish, not too much. So it'll do for now. I might add some more braids. Where is it? Where is it? There. There we go. And then in doing so, I can delete this one. Right, I'll take it. Great. And now on to coloring in some of the braids. I do need this other thing on multiply, I really do. Where's the multiply layer? There we go. Alright. I can't wait to do the lighting on these. That'll be so fun. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Like so. Ah, zoomed in too far. It is that. It's just that if it's a braid, it will be a little bit over the edge of the head because like it's a 3D thing, you know? They're not flat, they're boxed. Oh, I need to do that too. Maybe I could just put them on a different layer. There we go. And multiply. Should be fine. Yes, it works. Yep, not bad. Technically, it should be going from the middle where they meet, sort of. I've never actually seen it go two ways. I'm sure you can. Hmm. Nah, it has to be one way. Unless they both come from the middle, in which case that'd be okay. Yep. Then one more braid over here. Also, I have a couple of references, so I want to make sure I save it before I go on this my previous one. This is all off screen, of course, but still. Ah, I see how that works. Okay. I'm just making sure the star itself wasn't going to be empty, or how that emptiness would have looked. As such. And like so. Very lovely. Box braids. Love stars, I really do. Of course, a little bit more and a little bit more over here. Since I did have the main thing done, so they can start onto the hairs that make up the braids. Because they come from the head and also connect somewhere, you know? It's very fun to have a finished work. I did go a little bit over the line, so hopefully it won't be too much of a problem. Yep. And then, of course, another one over here. That was a smaller brush, but that's okay. It's only temporary. And of course, the star itself. I should probably go a bit further than to make sure it actually connects to the star. There we go. Right. Technically, they taper off as they get closer, but that's not something I can feasibly do at the moment. We'll see. Right, now to the tapering scenes. I know. It's about so it's not really. It is divided into sections. But still, the sections all come towards the main points. Just some of them. How does it? Oh, right. Okay. My bad. That way, and then that way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And of course, in between. Honestly, how things would be more efficient to not do what I'm currently doing and just draw lines through a pre-made one of stripes, I suppose. That's okay. You figure it out. Again, this side, because these also come from there. And this front part. Sort of. I don't think I'm doing a pretty good job with them. If here. Hopefully I can improve it. I'll come back to it. The front part. It's not too bad, per se. The thing about the stars is they kind of allow for a gap in between. Braiding, 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 braiding. Braiding, 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 braiding. Braiding, 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 braiding. Braiding, braiding, braiding. Braiding, 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 braiding. Braiding, 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 braiding. Braiding, braiding. Braiding, 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 braiding. Braiding, 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 braiding. Oh my god, it's so pretty. Braiding, 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 braiding. Braiding, 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 braiding. Of course, erasing the part that goes over the ear because, well, it doesn't go over the ear. And more braiding. Braiding, 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 braiding. Braiding, braiding, braiding. Braiding. Braiding, braiding. Star shape. Oh, and then a few more braids. Braiding, 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 braiding. Braiding, 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 braiding. Is that our hairline? I think so. It's hard to tell. Oh. Braiding, braiding, braiding. Braiding, 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 braiding. Oops. Another one. This one's that way, and we gotta put it on multiply, I think. Because now we're adding shadow. Where is the shadow? The shadow is honestly there's a general shadow, so not really. Maybe I'll put the multiply over the braids instead. That kind of works. I think. Probably. Yeah. Well, worst case scenario, it'll look bad, and that'll be okay because we can fix it. And try again when I feel like I understand it a bit better. Which one is the shadow again? Because like partially it's over here. But like also partially it's not. I'm vaguely confused. You'd think I'd know where the lighting is coming from by now. Maybe I should have started with light instead of shadow. This will do for now, but exclusively for now. Not for much longer. Another multiply. So I feel like I want to make the hair shiny. For now. And of course, I do want to delete some of the things that are not supposed to be on here. Like when the braids go out of bounds. No need for those. Okay, and that is us today. Hello. I hope you have enjoyed the stream. Feel free to watch any point. And see you again on Thursday when we're doing more meat textures. Sorry for the last minute postponement, but it was worth it to still do this week. And I hope you have a great, wonderful